Hello, and welcome to another, I think the fourth, development diary of Breathing Simulator. I would like to show you. I guess I should have done this on just the liquids, but when I actually developed it, but I got so engrossed in what I was doing, I didn't set aside time to actually demonstrate that. If I start the simulation up and pause it real quick, you can see that the water I've given it. Let me just restart it actually. I can show you what it looks like at default. It's completely random. It's just a random amount of mass dedicated to each tile, so that when I unpause it, be amazed as it very, very quickly evens out and tries to find equilibrium, and it achieves that. It's a little bit weird right now because of how I've optimized it. I have an idea to make it more consistent in the future, but for now, this is fine. Um, and check this out. If I go to the scene and I take a wall out. Don't blink, it goes really fast. Immediately starts flooding in and fills the room, which is great. Just perfect. That's exactly what should be happening. Should probably be a little bit faster, but that's along with the first issue where it kind of takes too long to even out in that main tank room. It should be coming in faster, but I have a way to fix that. I'm just not working on it right now. What I am working on is unit test. And if you don't know what a unit test is a very abstracted way of development where you take the simplest parts of your program and you analyze it automatically. Like if I do run all, it blinks real quick as it tests every single system that I've set up, and it's a either you like it or you don't like it, and I'm somewhere in the middle. So I've immediately evaluated or invalidated that Boolean choice of either you like it or you don't like it. I find it very dependent on what you're doing, and in this case, what I'm doing is testing math. And math is a perfect thing for unit tests because it should be very consistent. And I've spent many hours breaking down the code that I've made in such a way that I can unit test it. And in doing so, what I thought would just be a trivial, backtrack to set up unit tests for things that I already knew worked, I actually found a lot of inconsistencies and things that I previously thought worked perfectly that I could not possibly have been made aware of unless I was doing this unit testing. So I fixed bugs before I even noticed them through this method. And my first implementation of this outside of just what I know worked, which is the chemical stuff here, I dedicated a lot of code to just making sure that all the numbers match up, and they do match up pretty well. The first actual application of this development method is the organs, and that is sort of the foray from the very, very abstract physics into actual gameplay, because obviously the organs are going to play a huge part in your breathing simulator. And right now what I have is the lung and the heart. And the heart isn't done yet. It just has one job. But the lung is another physics regulator that draws in air and exhales air. And I've taken that code that I had made very early on and retrofitted it to work with unit tests. And then from there, I took the heart and I've started to integrate it into the lungs so that the heart will draw oxygen from the lungs and metabolize it into carbon dioxide. And very soon I'm going to have factors like pressure and taking into consideration chemical presences in the lungs, like hydrogen cyanide is an oxygen inhibitor, which stops your hemoglobin from binding with oxygen, which is why it's a very deadly gas. So that kind of stuff is all going to be dealt with in the heart. And as I start playing with this, I'm going to be thinking about it in terms of unit testing. I think that's going to make the code moving forward better and easier to deal with as the game scripts continue to bloat. It hasn't bloated out too far. And what's really funny about unit testing is that as I've gone through and made sure that everything linked up together, I noticed I ended up deleting a lot of code and simplifying things. It harkens back to the origin of what we call a function in programming. The word function is borrowed from mathematics, and mathematical functions are usually quite simple. Uh, Intentionally, it's supposed to do one thing and only one thing. And if you're sticking all sorts of shit into your functions, and not dedicating them to one purpose, you're making your life needlessly complicated. So I'm hoping to avoid that, because the scope of what I'm going to do is going to balloon very, very quickly as I progress. And besides the organs, one of the next things I want to do is start working on pipes. I want to make it so that I can have two rooms. One has one kind of gas, the other has breathable air, and you can start pumping in gas from that second chamber into the main chamber, with a set of construct, a set of instruments in the game. And all that's going to be written out in the units first, because I want to make sure that the actual functionality exists before I start worrying about how it's represented in a 3D way. So that's what I've been working on. I hope that has been interesting to you.